interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
I'm back.
Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down.
I like the way you ride with that booty on me.
It's going down.
Go down while you looking lonely.
It's going down.
Come around and it's all on me.
Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down.
So, new year, new intro. Let's get it. I'm not so sure if I'm going to promise to be a brand new me this year, but my reactions are going to be a lot differently. I'm not going to be doing the most. I'm not going to be doing above and beyond, and I'm going to stay in my lane. That is how 2026 is going to be from here out. Either roll with me or I'm going to roll over you or around you. Whichever is easier.
Okay, she headed to the dance floor and she slowly started popping it. Song like my wristpiece, everybody got to watching it. Girl, you got that secret treasure, I'm gon' put a lock on it. Don't care what they say, I would be stupid to be not on it.
Watch me flex. I think this is also the year where people need to stop lying and doing New Year's resolutions. Anybody got time for that? Why don't we just set intentions, things that we can do that are within our wheelhouse? Because I'm not trying to be a Pollyanna or anything, but I'm seeking or continuing to seek positivity. Because just like Alice Morse Earle said, every day may not be good, but there's something good in every day. Girl, you ain't never lied. And if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. That's Maya Angelou, and she's still kicking the knowledge, even from the grave. How amazing is that? And that comes to my next point. On my journey over the last maybe 2 years, I have developed, or there has been a pretty progressive osteoarthritis. I just discovered injections, which has basically changed my life. But I think I need to continue to do what is necessary to decrease the weight. I did try GLP-1s, and they weren't lying. When you go off of them, your back will be re-bigged. But there's something that can act like GLP-1s without the injections and the side effects, the decreased peristalsis, the increase in reflux, food getting stuck in your esophagus because it decreases everything, the constipation, from constipation to runoff, diarrhea. It's a big mess. But I do know that for my ability to be able to enjoy my next season of great wealth, I'm going to need to be able to move. That means move me and my dog expeditiously, in the words of T.I., if I have to get the hell up out of Dodge, because I'm not sure what the heck is going on in D.C., and there may become a time where I need to be as far away from there as well as Mar-a-Lago or wherever them fools are. Because I don't want to catch a stray for somebody else's shenanigans. With those things said, I have embarked on the garden, which is an inside hydroponic system that I'm growing my own with strawberries and a whole bunch of other green. And that is what's going to increase my new era of anti-inflammation. Because if I do have to stay on these injections, because I do not want to have a bilateral knee replacement, I'm going to have to change something. And the side effects of being on a truly anti-inflammatory diet is weight loss. So I'm looking at not only great wealth coming my way in the next 90 days, I'm intent on seeing a massive decrease in my weight. I may be still big back and do big back things, but at the same time, my back won't be as big. So, alcohol is the devil, but I do like my martinis, girl, but I still need to slow down on the gin and the vodka. But those things that will actually help me as far as anti-inflammation are hot lemon water with lemon, turmeric, and black pepper, and honey for sweetening, which also has the decreased allergic reaction to it. The black pepper and the turmeric are known for black inflammation, and the lemon itself actually just in the water actually just increases your hydration, especially if you take it in the first thing in the morning after you've been not drinking anything at night. It also helps to basically flush your system or actually cleanse the palate. So if you are going to eat something, it actually pumps up your bile acid secretion in your liver and can actually help you in digestion of the upcoming meal. And the effects may take weeks, but also I don't want anybody to see me in this new era and have what my friend Janelle and I actually do if someone takes a picture of that. Who that man or who that woman, Hoppo? I don't want anybody ever to say that if they see a picture of me in my new era. I want to look younger than I actually am, and you can only know that I actually am my age by looking at my hair, as well as my driver's license. Also, there's been a craze on Lucy Glow. There's been a craze on the internet about Lucy Glow apples, and there also is a Sugar Bee. That's the other one. Sugar Bee sweet apples that actually are known because one tastes like sweet tarts. The other one tastes like actually a natural candy apple. But the red flesh is high in antioxidants and anti-cancer drugs, or anti-cancer organic products. But if you were to actually go ahead and juice them and make a red apple juice, add the celery, yes, that I actually grew, and either fresh ginger or ground up ginger from the store, in my case, Publix, you can actually see the synergistic effects, calming your digestion, increasing in antioxidants, and also increasing your hydration. And it's so wild that I bought that Breville juicer years ago before I bought my meal, and I always felt bad about what am I going to do with the pulp. Also, I found out that you basically should buy both at the same time, and the meal is actually, you can rent that for $35 a month. The link to that is actually, I can share it in the podcast notes. But also, something that I learned when my garbage disposal went off the fritz. If you haven't used your Breville juicer in a while, there's a piece to it that allows you to detach the grinder. Unfortunately, it has disappeared in the hole that is in my well-equipped kitchen. I probably found it later, but if you actually clean out most of that and just actually put ice in the top and let that spin around, that'll actually clean it up, no problem. And then all you have to do is let the ice melt and drain into the catcher. But at the same time, I think I may have discovered a way to also make ice cream. But I'm lactose intolerant, so I probably would add like almond milk or even coconut milk, which would be the bomb. I'll try that later, and I'll let you know how that goes. But you learn something new every day by just thinking outside of the box and just seeing if you can actually clean it out without actually having to detach it. So, and also what I've learned just by juicing, when you don't drink alcohol, your mind is just clear. And then you do these things that actually boost your clarity of thought. You can think and dream of anything. And that is also what it's about. Is in alignment with a podcast segment dedicated to a fictional PI and all about true crime, or fictional crime in this case. Don't you think? Why do people work so hard to steal money? I'm looking at another scam involving 6 people charged with 41 million large this time. Insider trading involving 2 biotechs. It was Kim and the Showcat brothers who are being represented by Chris Christie, the former Republican governor of New Jersey. Oh, this is rich. They making up false websites and email addresses about one is a company called Opiant, which was developing a treatment for opioid overdose, which is supposedly being acquired by a company, as well as another one, a breast cancer drug that they were pumping up the price of the stock and then selling it as a profit. And then as other people lost their money, they reaped in the benefits. And because of his tips, the former city employee, Kim, he actually is being charged in this, and I'm sure he got some type of fee for giving the brothers this money, but they work really hard. There is Akan and Izuna Okaku. He has, of course, U.S. and Nigeria. And they were basically, he was actually legit back in 2023 because he co-founded a software startup called Pastel. But Okonkwo, he refused to talk to them or didn't have any comment or declined comment to talk about this fierce biotech article because how could you profit? They basically work so hard circulating wrong or falsified data about the workings of this breast cancer inhibitor, profiting from the opiate deal, or false information about this opiate deal, and then when they basically sold their shares, the people, after they pumped it up, it was like basically a pump and dump scheme, and they sold when it was at its highest, but then as it fell, everybody lost a whole bunch of money, but they profited. None of the original or the true members of Olema and Opiate are charged with any wrongdoing. It's just these brothers and these other people involved in the scam that are. And this is a lot of work to keep up with, and all the lies collided, and basically the scheme failed because it was just so stupid. And they left an electronic trail of their wrongdoings. Again, why are y'all working so hard to steal money? Y'all could have been legitimately look for used information or look for other truly legit information, made a grip, and then got out of it. Like most investors, retail investors do, but y'all tried to just steal it and tried to do it the wrong way. And it's appalling. But what can you do? We live in a society where money talks and BS walks, but these fools are getting ready to get charged for real, and go to jail. So I decided that I wanted to add a little bit more because similar to the run-up on running people's pockets with biotech, basically the Higagats or Rosbeth Ross Higat served on the Chinook Therapeutics board before it was bought up for a cool $3.2 billion by Novartis. He is alleged to have told all his brother and a whole bunch of their friends about the pending deal that was not public knowledge, which resulted in him being charged with securities fraud, insider trading, 2 counts of conspiracy. And now it's not that he is charged with insider trading. Anybody else that got a grip off of his shenanigans. So you got to be really careful when you get an inside tip or basically a trade tip, because ain't nobody trying to go to jail for you, and don't tell your family members. Everybody got to seek their information from a reputable source, and y'all go from there. But I'm not falling on sport for anybody. And the Haggagites, basically they're brown, but they forgot they were because they were of the Persian American persuasion. Yep, Iranian. You knew they were watching your dumb ass anyway. So you got all the way to the top, but you couldn't stay there because you got greedy and you got. Sorry, bruh. Sorry. From Johnson to not so lucky, I'm going to introduce you to this episode's or segment's scammer, Shiloh Lucky. She formed a startup, compliant, spelled with the Y capitalized, on virtually from probably from her Los Angeles closet, and came in on TikTok as a financial advisor, to the point where she's speaking at Collision 22 Center Stage in Toronto in 2022. She raises almost 15 million large by the likes of David Sachs through his craft ventures. The problem was she was good on paper, girl, and her company was good on paper, but she couldn't back it up. She is likened to what's her name, Jarvis, and FTX and Theranos, because they could talk a good game, fake it till you make it. Nah, not, because they gonna come back and the SEC and all the alphabet boys gonna come and get their money. The thing was, where she wanted to go was aspirational. Nobody knew about her company, and she was so much less than what the revenue streams were saying. She probably wanted to have revenue stream about $250,000 a month, but she was at $250 a month. She used the money to buy a house and to have her theme wedding in the Caribbean, but she had nothing of substance to support what her company was actually doing. Now she hired all these people. It took her 7 weeks, right when she got charged. The people that she hired were fired. It took them 7 weeks to get their final paycheck, and they had found out contributions to their retirement funds were missing because the company she was skimming. She had and she was so dumb. How do you piss through 15 million large and can't pay the people that support you? It could have worked if she wasn't lying. She wasn't a CPA. She had never had that certification, but she's actually spitting financial advice online. Girl, they were going to come after your black ass, and you should have just stopped while you were ahead, tried to either make the company legit or stop it, because The government plays the long game. Even though a lot of people in power now are criminals, the people that are, there's still a sprinkling of people that aren't, that taking notes and they kicking butt. So y'all need to be careful. And Shiloh, you need to be ashamed of yourself, because you know you were going to go down and it was not going to be tolerated. You only had 3 years when that homegirl had 6, but I digress. What keeps most people from getting caught right away, i.e. Jarvis, is because they look like her instead of looking like me and this child. It's kind of sort of it's an unwritten rule that the rules are different, or they're going to change the rules or make it harder for us. But they only gave this bitch 3 years when Jarvis was tripping with JP Morgan chasing them for like 7. Yeah, the rules are different, girl. And you should have known 15 million large, they were going to come after you. Girl, go have a seat. I cannot understand people and their willingness to be duped. This comes out of DL News. A fake Coinbase staffer stole 16 million crypto and then blew it on online casinos. Who does that? That is so dumb. This brother, or not brother, Ronald Spector, is indicted. He's a Brooklyn resident. 31 offensive, first degree, including first degree grand larceny and money laundering and scheme to defraud. He basically convinced unexpected dupes to transfer their savings to wallets he controlled. This is the stupidest dupe ever, because just like you don't give nobody your online passwords, those codes, you don't, basically, if somebody reach out to you by text or on social media posing as Coinbase, they tell you, we won't reach out for your passwords, we won't reach out to you for those password phrases. We're not going to reach out to you to get your online wallet or give us or get access to your online wallet. It does not work that way. So stop it. But people are still being duped for millions. These scammers are real gung-ho, but they reaching out to people that, it's like the willingness, they're trying to catch people off guard, and people's willingness to either overprotect themselves, or to make a fast buck, make them very still gullible to someone using very low rate technology to get access to your coin. I personally work too hard for anything and everything that I have, so I'm a bit more vigilant, and I'm only going to keep you, and I don't like talking on the phone, and I'm not going to answer a text. So if I happen to turn off my super duper caller ID, I only want to mess with y'all. So you're not getting access to anything. I have been duped before. And that has taught me so long. And I was duped back in 2016, 2017. I'm good on, nobody needs, the U.S. government don't need anybody's help through Apple Pay or through gift cards to be able to get their money. The IR and the S, they're good at that. Nobody's going to need you to pay off their warrant online. If they try to redirect you and you say, well, I'm going to go down to the courthouse and pay it in person, and they basically try to encourage you not to, and then they hang up on you, and then the numbers block, yeah, we're good over here. And you're not going to yell at me with a Punjabi accent and expect me to get over on me. You can kick rocks. The alphabet boys, even the guys down in downtown Chattanooga or wherever you live, they're not going to need a third party to help them get their coin. all warrants are served by true process servers. They're good at collecting their money, and most of the time, actually all of the time, you probably have to do it in person. So don't be a dupe. Protect yourself and do some checking. And if they won't let you do the checking, or they call you back from another spoof number, you can get out my face with that. So with that said, just protect yourself and don't become a gung-ho dumbass, okay? After a year of reflection, I'm back with a sound that feels like home. Hold Me Close is officially out. Think about cinematic soul meets raw, intimate storytelling. The wait is over! Let's dance! And y'all, AI is nothing but a tool. You can use it for good or you can use it for crap. But I decided to not only use it to create what I would like to look like, as well as what I would like to sound like, and see if I could be as popular as this Jonay person or entertain people like I've been doing. And that's why I continue to do this podcast. So not only am I going to showcase the majority of my song on this particular segment, it's going to definitely be followed up by the compilation of readings from my book, The Trickster. And I hope you enjoy both. And just let me know in the comments. Is it you smash it or junk it? Either way, I'm coochie.
With every heartbeat, let the passion flow. Underneath the stars, where the secrets lie, whispers of the night, just you and I. Every touch ignites like a candle's flame. In this dance of love, we'll never be the same. So hold me close, don't let me go. In this moment, let the feelings grow. With your heart in mine, we can take our time. Lost in this melody, you're forever mine. Oh, ooh, yeah. Swaying to the music, lost in your eyes. Every word you speak, a sweet surprise. Through the ups and downs, we'll find our way. In this world of ours, we'll forever stay. So hold me close, don't let me go. In this moment, let the feelings grow. With your heart in mind, we can take our time. Lost in this melody, you're forever mine. Let the night unfold, let the magic reign. In this sweet embrace, we'll dance through the pain. With every heartbeat, we'll break down the walls. Together we'll rise whenever love calls. So hold me close, don't let me go. In this moment, let the feelings grow. With your heart in mine, we can take our time. Lost in this melody, you're forever mine. Oh, ooh, oh, oh, hey.
So this is the novel writing month and I'm closing in on the end of The Trickster, a Parable, my take on Octavia Butler's Parable series. She only lived to see the publication of 2. There was probably a series of 6 or 7 books that were planned, and then she passed away after a pretty bad fall. I think if the internet had been interneting and she had known and had the use of a good AI tool, she would have been able to finish the series in her own manner. I took a stab at it. I think I never will have her voice, but through her ideas, I have created my own voice, and I hope I've created something that she would be proud of. Different, not her, but still proud. I'm getting to the point where I think I'm coming up towards the end and planning for the next series. I'm not even sure if anyone would like it outside of myself, but I'm still going to give it a try. That's what life and creation is all about. Creating something that you would read and that would be entertaining for others. Along that line is an expansion upon the concept of Earthseed. This is a community born out of necessity, where Lauren Olamina, as a teenager, created this concept of God as change because the fixed God of her father and of Christian America was not, or it did not give the salvation and the promise that her conceptualization of God. It doesn't negate or subvert Roman Catholicism, Judaism, Hinduism. It's just non-hierarchical, and it's a way to look at look at and deal with the chaos that was surrounding them. This makes it a little bit easier, and out of it, it's intentional seeking peace and ability to survive. One of the things that I've realized too, that I don't think we're going to be able to escape this earth by messing it completely up. Yes, I think society is going through a big shift. We are definitely in the age of Aquarius. And we got to learn how to deal with chaos and difference and change. Things can't stay static. People can't use power and use religion and race and dogma to subjugate everyone. Power is corruptible. And what does it matter if you're poisoning yourself and others? It does not make any sense. Also, I want to just reiterate that the concept of change and this Earthseed community and the philosophy is fictional. It would be looked upon as heresy to create something like this in the Christian America of the book, but this is a fictional guidance. This creation is based on some true facts, like, for example, survival, Earthseed. That's the whole thing. Also, I've done research or took several religion classes and did one of my final research papers by attending Catholic church services and buying a rosary at one of the cathedrals in Canada. And I've actually got the beads to actually make my own Earthseed rosary. And with the use, and I was able to create an actual Earthseed rosary prayer. I hope people don't consider this heresy, but it's just an expression, a meditative expression of this fake religion. Take it as that and take it as art, what I have made up. It has nothing to do with, no, I'm not trying to create some type of cult. No, I'm not doing that at all. All of this is fictional. It's not heresy. It's just a different thought process, a meditative thought process. And I check it out, and I hope you like it. Earthseed, the beliefs that I want to create in for this abstract or fictional religion is based off of laws of physics, biology, and sociology. And it's kind of built into like a spiritual framework. The core tenets provide the moral and practical blueprint for a self-sustaining and a constantly evolving community. This rosary is not static. It's something that is going to be built upon, hopefully, as I continue or am allowed to continue with the parable series. The central tenet is God is change, God is infinite, irresistible, and eternal. God is not fixed and not static like conventional religion. This God is the ultimate reality of the universe. Suffering, destruction, and loss are not punishments or some random events, but these are a manifestation of God. And it evokes change, and the change itself is God. You have to prepare for it, you have to study it, and you have to shape it. Our role with this change is not passive. Our destiny is to eventually see the stars, but we got to be able to survive here on Earth. Just like one of the characters in the book, Phoenicia Baxter said this: ain't nobody trying to survive the struggle here on Earth and to take that mess, that ish, into the stars. Why do we always have to be on the struggle bus? Ain't nobody got time for that. We got a lot to basically figure out here before we can even make it up there. Every action while we are down here is to that end, because that's our destiny. Change is constant, necessary, and fluid. There's a paradox when you can hold two opposing ideas simultaneously. There's the inevitability of chaos, and simultaneously you work ruthlessly to create order and security. Security is temporary but necessary for the collective to adapt effectively. Water is powerful in this. It's essential for life, yet it's fluid and it's constantly shifting. It can't be contained just by any single vessel for long. That's why this community has to master water reclamation, not being wasteful. Always, knowledge is power. Change is driven by data and verifiable reality. That's why knowledge in blockchain, coding, and quantum computers are not just technological assets. It's the instrument used to map the face of God and to predict movements. For all of us to survive, we all have to be physically connected, not just to the pain of others, but also to the happiness of others for the collective good. This is the necessity of all of us reaching our eventual destiny in those stars. What can we do to help society and each other now is what is going to propel us even faster and safely to populate the stars and to continue to grow, because that is the bottom line for our destiny. Not just this fake community, but overall, just humanity in general. Embrace it, meditate upon it, and let us all grow. I was today years old when I became a fan of my own show. The way I record by using Logic Pro. I basically record each episode into segments, which I found that after almost 350 episodes, I actually have enough content to do compilations and then rearrange those segments that make sense. Although I doubt that I'm going to participate in the novel writing challenge, as it were, for this month, I probably will be continuing to work on Twin Destiny, which is my AI generated videos about the twins, Kochu and the other little girl. Can't remember. But anyways, as well as completing the first draft of Trickster, the Parable, my take on Octavia Butler's sci-fi series, Parable, a continuation of Parable of the Talent. This is the next installment of that. And that is why I decided to create a compilation of my work on that for the past maybe 4 or so odd weeks, starting out with the original prologue as well as rewriting it and then reading it on this particular podcast, as well as some other work I've done about expanding the character and reintroducing the character of her father from Parable of the Talents. I think it's going to be a wild ride, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Now for the compilation of Trickster, the Parable, and thank you for listening. So this is the novel writing month, and I'm closing in on the end of The Trickster, a Parable, my take on Octavia Butler's Parable series. She only lived to see the publication of 2. There was probably a series of 6 or 7 books that were planned, and then she passed away after a pretty bad fall. I think if the internet had been interneting and she had known and had the use of a good AI tool, she would have been able to finish the series in her own manner. I took a stab at it. I think I never will have her voice, but through her ideas, I have created my own voice, and I hope I've created something that she would be proud of. Different, not her, but still proud. I'm getting to the point where I think I'm coming up towards the end and planning for the next series. I'm not even sure if anyone would like it outside of myself, but I'm still going to give it a try. That's what life and creation is all about, creating something that you would read and that would be entertaining for others. Along that line is an expansion upon the concept of Earthseed. This is a community born out of necessity, where Lauren Olamina, as a teenager, created this concept of God as change because the fixed God of her father and of Christian America was not, or it did not give the salvation and the promise that her conceptualization of God. It doesn't negate or subvert Roman Catholicism, Judaism, Hinduism. It's just non-hierarchical, and it's a way to look at look at and deal with the chaos that was surrounding them. This makes it a little bit easier, and out of it, it's intentional seeking peace and ability to survive. One of the things that I've realized too, that I don't think we're going to be able to escape this earth by messing it completely up. Yes, I think society is going through a big shift. We are definitely in the age of Aquarius. And we got to learn how to deal with chaos and difference and change. Things can't stay static. People can't use power and use religion and race and dogma to subjugate everyone. Power is corruptible. And what does it matter if you're poisoning yourself and others? It does not make any sense. Also, I want to just reiterate that the concept of change and this Earthseed community and the philosophy is fictional. It would be looked upon as heresy to create something like this in the Christian America of the book, but this is a fictional guidance. This creation is based on some true facts, like, for example, survival, Earthseed. That's the whole thing. Also, I've done research or took several religion classes and did one of my final research papers by attending Catholic church services and buying a rosary at one of the cathedrals in Canada. And I've actually got the beads to actually make my own Earthseed rosary. And with the use, and I was able to create an actual Earthseed rosary prayer. I hope people don't consider this heresy, but it's just an expression, a meditative expression of this fake religion. Take it as that and take it as art, what I have made up. It has nothing to do with, no, I'm not trying to create some type of cult. No, I'm not doing that at all. All of this is fictional. It's not heresy. It's just a different thought process, a meditative thought process. And I check it out and I hope you like it. They'll get a little bit further with working with diapods, but a lot of this is going to have to take place on Earth before they're even going to be able to get to the stars. A lot of things have to be fixed and dealt with. That's why I'm going to have to rework this a little bit, because I think the trials and them getting beyond the trials are going to be key to them being able to things that they're going to have to get over before they're going to be able to realize their place in the stars. So I'm going to have to change this to some of the advances in science that they actually have to have here on Earth before they can actually proceed to the stars, which will still be dope, I think. For everyone that has been following me for the last couple of weeks, I have been alternating between talking about my twin destiny. My plan is, if I can get my knees under control before March and also get the money up through investments, I want to go to Korea. So I've done this historical fiction about twins separated at birth. Of course, they're girls, and of course, they go to separate from Korea to Japan. And I've learned a lot. But I've also, it's continuing in the vein of Octavia Butler and her Parable series. I love Parable of the Talents. I've dug Kindred. But she died before she could actually finish the 6 or 7 book series. And she notoriously had severe writer's block. And I, born 20 years, like after she was, and having access, not only having a financially stable that I can create and then have access to the tools that will allow me to create things. I think this would have allowed her the opportunity to continue to bless us with her creativity. I attempted to use AI to write the initial prologue of my book, The Trickster, a Parable, in the vein of what she meant, because hers is a tale of a post-apocalyptic world of the pox ushered in by an administration that, quote unquote, wanted to make the world great again. Hers was from a time, she died even before President Obama was even elected. I think that would have given her more hope. But the rot that she saw in climate warming, the go-go days of Reagan, and the dissolution of a lot of the services under the guise of Reaganomics, truly was the rant of a man with advanced Alzheimer and had no basis in economic reality. This is how she crafted her parable, and though the world of the parable based on that. A lot of it is spot on, because there are some of the things that we are experiencing now is completely applicable to when she wrote this way back in the late 90s and published in 2000. What I did not want or could not use was the idea of us being on a struggle bus and still being able to get to outer space. Because what I do know is we do and have the means and access to technology that we could experiment with now that could actually stabilize the rot that is happening in our society now, to allow us to go to space, because it would be a danger to basically get caught up there and have to basically wing it when we actually have the technology that we don't have to wing it. And there is a possibility to actually create a Wakanda-like society here, at least I can imagine it in my mind, because I don't want to take the same rot, the same hierarchical, racist thinking to outer space. What would be the purpose of creating Acorn or extending Acorn in the Earthseed-based community in space when we couldn't even figure out the basic needs here on Earth? Why couldn't we, in our smaller community, and not have to struggle to have clean water, clean air, and uncontaminated food? You know what I mean? So that was one of the reasons why I had the idea to basically rewrite the prologue and using the tools that were not available, and access to other concepts that were not even available to Octavia Butler back in 2003, 1990 or 2000, when this book was first actually, the Talents, Parable of the Talents, was actually written. And it also, I think, gives it a new dynamic. And it also gives me a focus to, again, take us from the struggle bus to create a world that is, I would think, is completely plausible. And how would you use the tools in an ethical and a good way to be able to let society and society as a whole advance? Sometimes you got to implode it to actually rebuild it, and to rebuild it in a way that actually makes sense, using the tools that you have available to you in a positive way. Also, giving grace to those that hold on to the old way and can't adapt, and looking at, because that's what a parable, it actually teaches you a lesson. If you hold on to the ways and you're not able to adapt, this is what happens. Either you get annihilated, or you basically swing the opposite way. Either way, there's a punishment, and there is a reward for your inability to adapt with change. Not all chaos is bad, just like not all chaos is good. It's somewhere in the middle, and you can just adapt and adapt in a positive way. So here we are with the new prologue from my version, The Trickster, a parable. From our subterranean sanctum, the world above was not a constant hum of chaos, but a carefully curated stream of data. The truth was not what was reported, but what was concealed. The official news agencies, NPR, or even Associated Press long since buckled under the Jarrett's administration's pressure by defunding and incarceration of anyone considered a dissident. Promoted sensationalist distractions, gossip, celebrity crisis, and religious fervor, all designed to cover up the real story. The slow, agonizing collapse of the food chain and the horrific expansion of the labor camps. The Acorn Earthsea community had been one of the earliest, most tragic victims of this systemic failure. Their destruction framed as necessary military action against renegade cultists. We use blockchain, the collab, to log the truth. Every piece of propaganda, every media blackout, every real-time data spike in the dwindling water tables was recorded, validated, and time-stamped, creating a shadow history. The world above could lie, but the immutable ledger of the collab could not. This created a strange internal paradox. The digital currency we minted, the collab, was meant to be a force for liberation, yet criminals and savvy market actors immediately co-opted the system. Jarrett's administration, in a panic effort to keep the economic system afloat, tried to use our technology to validate their own failing currency, ironically adding a layer of transparency that ultimately hastened their demise. Jarrett himself had become obsessed with using our technology to gain ultimate power, pouring resources into government quantum labs. Still, he was losing the war not to us, but to the crazed homicidal fanatics within his own ultra-conservative base, who saw technology as a heathen tool and his own government as weak. One day, while monitoring the unsecured transmission loops, a burst of raw, unfiltered data ripped across our screens. A video feed from a low-grade satellite that the government thought had been decommissioned years ago. The quality was poor, grainy, and flickering, but the message was horrifyingly clear. We were looking directly into the mess hall of a real red mill facility, one of Elon Bezos' corporate workhouses. The scene was pure pandemonium. Guards in their corporate red trim were trying to hold a line against a surging, emaciated crowd of workers. There was no riot over freedom, no protest against slavery. This was a fight for simple survival. The usual meal of protein paste had been delivered short, drastically short. We watched the desperation turn instantly into violence as men and women clawed at each other over nutrient tubs. Run analysis, I ordered, my voice tight. Correlate with red mill harvest logs. Jackson, Pollock, J.P. Brown, running the quantum computing processes worked swiftly. It's worse than we thought, Tash. I think I need to add running the worked swiftly. The voice activated commands more rapid than any keyboard. So this is like kind of like Siri on crack. But anyways, it's worse than we thought, Tash. The logs show the largest rice and bean harvest in 3 quarters was taken from the facility yesterday. They've been stripped bare. And where did the harvest go? Corporate records show it was routed directly to Christian America Central Distribution Hub in voice-activated commands and digital outreach. How can it says movement translated more rapidly than any keyboard. Okay. Then we strip bare. And where did the harvest go? Corporate records show it was routed directly to the Christian American Central Distribution Hub in Oklahoma, a gift from Bezos to Minister Duran, probably for political protection. The connection was stark. The workhouses were being starved to feed the religious zealotry of Christian America, trading life for political stability. It was an appalling display of the New World's economy, human flesh traded for political dogma secured by corporate greed. But the story wasn't over. The transmission jump, now we were watching a convoy of trucks, clearly marked with Christian America cross and stylized eagle, moving fast along a dilapidated stretch of I-40. The trucks full of red mill harvest were intercepted. The interception was brutal but efficient. A group of masked riders, not government or corporate mercenaries, but independent scavengers, outlaws, swarmed the convoy. They didn't take the trucks. They offloaded the crates and barrels, transferring them to their smaller, faster vehicles. The food meant for devoted members of Marcus Duran's community was being stolen. Track the new routing, I commanded, my hands, my eyes darting across the terminal. The data returned a grim answer. The stolen food wasn't being used to feed another Earthseed commune or any other humanitarian effort. It was being sold. Black market, Tash, JP confirmed, shaking his head. They're dumping it on the local gray markets in what used to be Memphis. High price, untraceable. This food is going to the rich and the opportunists, not the desperate. The hypocrisy was sickening. Christian America, preaching order and self-sufficiency, was wholly dependent on the slave labor of workhouses. In turn, its own supply lines were so weak they were being raided by common criminals. The system was eating itself alive. Their fixed world was a complete lie. We are witness the final, brutal truth of the Pox era. The collapse of centralized power created not just chaos, but a vacuum that anyone, whether a black market trader or a trickster prophet, could exploit. This chaos, this failure of the old world order, was the fertile ground in which Earthseed was even able to survive. The more the surface world failed, the more vital our subterranean self-sufficiency, our digital collab, and our hydroponic gardens became. We were a tiny living island of order in a sea of unraveling lies. This goes to what I created as an introduction. A trickster can take many forms for good or not. The seemingly random nature of God's change highlights that change isn't always good or predictable. Sometimes it takes on a destructive, trickster-like form, as seen in the societal collapse, environmental disasters, and the violent conflicts of Octavius' post-apocalyptic parable novels. The trickster's lessons are about adaptability, outsmarting a rigid system, and using cleverness to survive. This is precisely what Larkin, Lauren's kidnapped daughter, Natasha's collab community, and Lauren Amina and her followers must do to survive. The trickster's chaotic nature reflects the world's collapse, and the trickster's cleverness is a core quality of the characters who manage to survive it, for good or for bad, right? I also wanted to make a clear demarcation into the difference between the world of old, because I think it's Parable of the Talents, where Lauren's father basically dies, or he comes up missing, and we never really find out what happened to him because a body was never found. But I bring him back up as when you hold on so tightly to the old ways, what happens, what could actually happen to you. I wanted to make that, I start out with that stark comparison between him and to basically intertwine how Marcus Duran, Lauren's brother, basically survives the decimation of their walled neighborhood, and then he gets sold into sex slavery, and then he becomes a high up in Christian America's regime. Then he himself basically sells out his own sister, and to get her labeled a heretic only because he wants to be the man in Christian America, he basically sells the community out and gets her child kidnapped. And to basically how the community of the collab was actually available, and even though they were literally underground and off grid, the intellectuals, that it could have been a place where, if he hadn't held so closely to conventional religion, he basically could have not only saved his own family, but the rest of that community. They wouldn't have gotten burned out. I basically address what a lot of the loose strings I thought was in the Parable of the Talent, and basically how it became full circle, and how using the technology that we know now can actually build a Wakanda-like world that could allow us to eventually get to the stars, and probably get there faster, and probably not have to be on the struggle bus, because we at every single stage of our advancement, we will work out the kinks to be able to advance. That is how I see it. And even though by hiccups and there with war and rumors of war, we still can actually progress, I think the future for a truly advanced society is really probably in the stars. But we can't take the old world into the new world, or any such possible mistakes as that would allow our filtration system and our food sources to actually be destroyed. Ain't nobody got time for that. And ain't nobody, it is not, you can still have conflict and a suspension of disbelief without having to be on the struggle bus. But that's just my style. This is based on an idea of Octavia Butler, and I think it is I'm just trying to further it, but it's not, I don't write like her, I don't sound like her, and I have access to things now that she didn't have access to, and as I learn the tools, hopefully I can put out a better product. And I hope you would actually stay with me as I continue not only participating in the novel writing challenge, but also creating a product that other people would want to read. I got I'm about 41,000 words down, a little over 9,000 more plus to go. I hope I do a good job. I just want to do a good job of relating a story that allows people you can be entertained, but you can embrace change and make change work for you. You know what I mean? and still enjoy life and still just, it's so much more than, life is just so much more than what you could actually make it. You're only limited by your ability or inability to experience it, I think. You can take the girl out of the hood, but you can't take hood music out the girl. But I'm going to end this with a word, just as I started this podcast. Do or do not do. There is no try. And that's a word from Yoda. I hope I have conveyed just how much fun I have had in creating this podcast. I've got my mojo back. Just set your intention or reset your intention. It could be daily if necessary. Mine is peace. No mental dumping over here. If I'm acting like I'm not listening, I'm probably not. I'm not your therapist. I'm not a therapist. Keep the crazy to yourself, child. You do you and leave me be. The sooner you figure that ish out, the happy you will be. So this is what I want to convey in this podcast. And that wraps another of F.A.A.F.O has a fro. Join me next time as I throw shade and point out the shade and simply have fun. Y'all have a great new year. What, y'all? What?